Care.com recently did a survey, and it was really compelling. And they said that 54% of adult children would rather talk to their own children about sex rather than talking to their aging parents about getting the care that they need and what their plans are for how they age. So this struck me as really important to understand because personally, I still haven't had this conversation with my parents, and they're getting older, and I know it's something that I need to do, but I don't want to do it because I'm afraid of them becoming defensive or us ending up in an argument. So, Kevin, you know a lot about this.
Yeah.
And this is something that we talk about with our clients every day.
Absolutely.
And I would love to hear your perspective on it and how can we have these conversations without upsetting our parents, without ending up in an argument. Hi, I'm Tim from the Home Care Fam. I am here as your guide to this series. I'm just like you. I have aging parents. I have lots of questions, and I want to provide additional resources so that you can provide the best care you can possibly provide for yourself and for your family. And this is Kevin.
Hi, I'm Kevin. And I'm going to be one of those resources. I've been an owner of a home care agency for 5 years, but I also have a couple family members that I care for. And so I have a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience on what it's like to actually have to care for a loved one.
More than half of the families in the United States have never had the conversation with their aging parents about what it's going to be like to get help and how their life is going to change as they become older and what type of help that they're going to need to fulfill the life that they really want to live. And this is something that's extremely common for most families, but the families who have this talk with their aging parents actually says it brings them much closer together.
Yeah.
And this is something we really want to help you with today is how do you have this talk with your parents without them refusing the help that they really need? And it can really avoid a lot of dangerous things that can happen as your parents age, which is falling, having an accident in the car, leaving the stove on, forgetting critical doctor's appointments. Kevin, you've talked to lots of families about this. You've talked to your own family about it. What are some tips that you can help people have this conversation and avoid their parents refusing to help?
You know, when it comes down to having a conversation with our parents, so one, we have this feeling, or they're probably going to have a feeling that they're losing agency.
Sure.
They're losing the ability to have freedom to age the way they choose.
Sure.
Because they feel like it's going that piece is being taken away from them and you're taking it away from them. So that's why it feels so uncomfortable. Is we feel like we are being the bad guy and we are taking something away from them. And that's actually not the intent. Mm-hmm. What we want to do is we want to give them the support to actually increase maybe that agency, because in some instances, having additional support is going to help them maintain the style of life that they've been used to. So if it is someone who maybe has some mobility issues,
sure,
or, anything that is limiting their capacity, if you can somehow maybe invite or bring back something that can aid them in creating and or helping recapture that capacity,
sure,
you're giving them the ability to recognize maybe a new best life. Because that is really, end of the day, what we want to do with our aging parents is we don't want to limit them, but we want to acknowledge. And I tell people all the time, it's so important to acknowledge what is happening to your parents in the aging process.
Sure.
It makes it real for them. It makes it real for you. And then you're able to have a conversation and talk about it from a place of feeling, because you're acknowledging and recognizing that this is mom, dad, whoever it is. This is real. I see it. And it is painful to watch. And all I'm trying to do is give you some support to help you maintain and continue to live a quality life. It just might be a little bit different.
Sure.
But it doesn't mean it can't be as good. What makes those conversations usually good get into their world. And how you do that is you simply ask questions. They want to be seen. They want to be heard. When they're seen and when they're heard, then they're going to start to open up a little bit more. You cannot see them and you cannot hear them when you're talking at them and you're trying to show them the world you think they should have.
Sure.
You need to really step back and really think about the seeing them and hearing them. I repeat that a lot with a lot of families.
Sure.
And even throughout the agency, I want even the caregivers to see this. You need to be able to see and hear the clients. That's when all of a sudden you can, when you see them, you can be empathetic. You can understand. You can have conversations you may not realize you could have had otherwise. So it's really actually an easy thing to do is stop talking in some instances. I like to talk a lot sometimes, so I have to remember.
Sure.
But at the same time, I actually really like to listen, because when you listen, you hear things that maybe you've missed in the past, and then you have a window of opportunity to talk. So when you're letting your loved ones talk, that's when you're going to start to see, okay, what is going to make them feel better about getting care? Like, have we actually asked them how they are?
Yeah, I mean, these are really critical. This is critical information to have, is what's important to them, what's driving them. What are the activities that they miss that they want to keep doing? So, for example, my parents drive across the country twice every year, 3,000 miles back and forth. My dad's 84, my mom is 76, and so they're starting to get older. And I worry about these trips because it's a lot of miles on a lot of dangerous roads, but I know it's so critically important for them to maintain their freedom and to experience the life that they want to live, and stop in Yellowstone and stop in Hannibal, Missouri, and these places that they really like to have adventures. And I'm here to support that for as long as I can, because I know it's important to them.
When we first started looking for my mother, she was really hesitant. We have to remember, they're thinking we're taking life away from them.
Yeah.
Happened to talk to a caregiver who was available, and we knew my mother needed care. We knew we possibly wanted to give her or get her this caregiver because this caregiver sewed.
Sure.
My mother was a sewer. She sewed, she had sewing classes for people in the community years ago. But we sold it to her that, you know what, maybe this caregiver can come in. They're also a sewer.
Sure.
So they can just spend time with you in the sewing room. You can reorganize the sewing room that you haven't organized in years.
Sure.
And that's how you can connect with them and start talking about, well, how about someone coming in to help you maintain that hobby and or grow it even further. So that's what I have found is find something that is going to get them excited, because you're giving them something they enjoy. You're not taking away their life. They're not taking away the agency that they feel is being taken away. So I think that's usually where I tell families to start, because once you're there, that's when the magic happens.
Let's not pressurize this. Do not have this conversation at Thanksgiving dinner when the entire family is in town. And the spotlight shifts to your parents in the middle of dinner. That is a recipe for disaster. So let's talk about how we can have that conversation and make it not so intense and remove the defensiveness.
Yeah.
And I think, Kevin, you've had this experience yourself. I'd love to hear what you think about it.
You said, probably one of the most important things and that is, don't make it a big deal.
Yes.
Don't make it a big event. Mom, Dad, we're sitting down and having the talk. No, steer clear. You do not want to do that. That's going to be an immediate no. And so then your conversation's been shut down. When is the right time to have that conversation?
Sure.
Unfortunately, sometimes I have to come out with its responses. Don't have it when it's too late.
And one of the things that really helps have this conversation is to bring in a neutral third party. So when it's coming from you as the adult child, it could be pressurized, and your parents can get defensive. So if you can bring in a neutral third party, like a close family friend, a priest, a pastor, a golf buddy, a crocheting friend, somebody from the coffee clutch, it really helps kind of like de-risk the situation.
Absolutely.
And it allows your parents to relax and allows this other person to provide some advice that as their adult child, you really can't provide yourself.
I would even say, and I've seen this both firsthand with my family, or even with families as they go through this. When you invite in that third person,
Yes.
you as an adult child, if you're happy to be talking to your parents, you're sometimes going to find out stuff about your parents you didn't know.
That's right.
And so, but that's okay, because you are sitting down with your loved one, and they're bringing in someone that is their confidant, maybe, which gives them a level of security. But then you're also learning a little bit about them that you maybe didn't know.
Yeah.
And it's but then you have they're already on your team.
What do you think about the topic of making it about you? So I have a friend who basically, they were providing the care for a loved one, and they were having trouble having this conversation with them. But when they finally kind of flipped the script and they said, hey, I really need this because I'm really losing my own life.
Yep.
And I really need help to provide you the care with you need. What do you think about that? Is that something that can work?
I think it is absolutely something that can work. It's, as with anything in life, it's situational,
Sure.
I think.
Yeah.
So there is an element of understanding
Okay,
of the
fine.
personalities you're working with.
Sure.
And I think in that instance, yeah, there are going to be people who respond to
Cries for help.
but it is, and in some instances, it's going to take a little bit of trial and error.
Sure.
But I will always go back. I am a true believer that you really need to stop this.
What do you think about starting slowly?
Yeah.
So bringing someone in for
without
just a
doubt.
couple hours a day,
Yeah.
or one day a week to go run errands or something like that.
Yeah.
That's something that I've seen be successful.
Absolutely. Because it's kind of a slow introduction.
Sure.
A lot of times people are going to be afraid of having someone in their home. They're going to be afraid of theft. There's a lot of fear in introducing a stranger to your home, especially when you're aging.
Sure.
And so that is real. It may take a little bit of time to introduce them to people coming into their home.
Sure.
Helping build trust. It's not easy. So yeah, that is absolutely success. I have seen that. In some instances, we've had clients start with 2 hours a week. They ended up with 24/7 at one point.
Sure.
But it took that building trust. And so that is something, when you're looking at who is going to be providing that care, or the agency you're talking to, and what can they help bring that comfort, that trust, because that is a critical part to the success of bringing someone into the home and getting your parents or whoever is the one in need of care to accept it. We've provided a couple personal assistants to families.
There you go.
So that's even a simple change that
Sure.
made this family, the wife, actually accept care. Was we said, this is actually going to be your personal assistant. This is someone who's going to drive you to the store.
Okay.
They're going to basically do what she wanted. So it was just reframed, and she loved the idea of having a personal assistant.
So if I was just to boil it down, have the conversation in a non-pressurized environment, get into their world, understand what they want, what they need, what they miss doing. Talk about starting it slowly. Care can start slowly, just a couple hours a day, and then reframe it. Say, hey, this is not a caregiver. This is your personal assistant to drive you places, to take you to get your nails done, to take you to get your hair done, to drive you to your coffee clutch so that you can see your old pals. So there's a lot of different ways to approach it. But if you do it in the right way, these conversations can be incredibly productive. And like we said earlier, it can actually bring a family closer together because your parents are getting the care that they need. You're giving them the care that they need, and you're maintaining your life, which is something that everybody wants. Okay, before you go, I just wanted to mention a couple things. please go to the link in the bio to click the free resource and the guide that we talked about in this episode. I also wanted to mention that both Kevin and I own home care businesses based in Northern California in the San Francisco Bay Area. We're also part of AmeriCARE, which is a national brand. Please get in touch with us if you need help providing care for your aging family. We'd be happy to be a resource. And Kevin, I think one of the things we'd also like to mention is if we're not the right people for you, we'd be happy to point you in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely.